It was supposed to be silence, the kind that follows after the last goodbye, the funeral, the flowers wilting in a vase you didn't ask to keep. But this silence, it pulsed. It wasn't hollow. It wasn't gone. It felt like standing in a room just after someone leaves, and yet the air still bends around where they used to stand. You tried to call it grief. You tried to explain it away with memories. But deep down, something didn't feel over. Something still felt present. You weren't imagining it, chosen one. That presence pressing against your spirit, that was them. They've been trying to reach you, not with words, but with weight. The kind that sits in your chest at 3 a.m. The kind that makes you turn around when no one's behind you. That's not haunting. That's not trauma. That's contact. Your friend didn't leave you the way the world thinks they did. There's a thread between you that death couldn't cut. A golden frequency still buzzing faintly, waiting for you to listen instead of mourn. You keep feeling like you forgot something, like you missed a final message. And you're right. Because this silence isn't stillness. It's a message held in suspension. It's the pause between breaths. They didn't vanish, they transitioned. And now they're closer than the words, "I miss you" can hold. That's why certain places still hum, why a certain song stops your heart mid-beat. Why, every now and then, you feel their laugh ripple across your memory like a ghost wave. Chosen one, that's not your imagination. That's their persistence. You're not crazy for sensing them. You're sensitive because you were chosen to receive this. You always were the one they trusted most, the one they told things to no one else ever knew. And now, even beyond the veil, they haven't changed that. They still trust you, still reach for you, still whisper to the part of you that doesn't speak in language, but in light. But something's been blocking the full message, and it's not the boundary between life and death. It's your belief that you're not worthy to hear it. Grief blurred your vision. Pain made you question whether what you felt could be real. But God is pulling back the curtain now. Heaven has been watching your heart, how it kept loving even when shattered, how you refused to turn bitter, how you kept whispering, "I miss you" to the air, just in case they could still hear you. And they did. Every time, the silence wasn't a void, it was a waiting room. And now, chosen one, you're ready to enter. The door has cracked open. Your heart is soft enough to receive. The message is coming through. Don't run from it. Don't dismiss it. You were always meant to hear what they've been begging to tell you. The silence is over, and the voice is rising. The dreams started subtly. A hallway that didn't match your real home. A familiar laugh echoing behind a closed door. Their face flickering into view only after you woke up. You shrugged it off at first, called it memory, called it wishful thinking. But your spirit knew better. Dreams are not always fiction. Sometimes they are encrypted messages. Heaven slips under the veil, and your friend has been using them, begging, reaching, tapping on the inside of your soul while the world is asleep. They've been trying to get through because there's something they know, and time is running thin. They don't look exactly the same in those dreams, do they? That's not an accident. They're showing you the form your soul will recognize, not just your eyes. Light bends around them differently now. Their words don't come from their mouth, they come from a knowing. And you've woken up more than once with your pillow damp, your chest tight, and your mind unable to remember what was just spoken. That's because you were closer than ever. You were almost there, almost able to hear the full sentence, almost ready to bring it back with you. But guilt pulled you out. You've been wondering why certain dreams stay with you for days, why the ones that feel most like them make your heart ache with both grief and awe. It's because they're real.
It's not just subconscious longing, it's actual presence. Their spirit has learned the passageway, and that passage is through you, because you, chosen one, are the only one who would still listen even after everyone else moved on, and they knew that. That's why they keep returning, why the same place keeps reappearing, why you sometimes wake up and swear someone just whispered your name. They're not lost. They're luminous now, but they're desperate, not to haunt you, not to hurt you, but to deliver the one thing they couldn't say in time, and the only way through the veil is when your soul is unguarded, when you're sleeping, when your mind lets go of doubt and your heart opens like it did when you were children, when you still believed everything had meaning. They've been standing at the edge of your dreams, chosen one, watching, waiting, whispering, hoping tonight is the night you remember what they said, and heaven has allowed it because this message is sacred. It's not just personal, it's prophetic. Something they saw before they died is still unfolding, and you're the key to unlocking what comes next. That's why your dreams keep calling you back to the same scene, the same doorway, the same moment frozen in half light, because that's where the message is stored. And it's time. So tonight, sleep with intention. Lay down not just to rest, but to receive. Say their name, invite them in. You don't need words. They already know the language of your tears. They've been trying to reach you, and heaven is ready to let it through tonight. The veil will be thin.
The night you broke down wasn't silent in heaven. You thought no one saw you, curled in the corner, fists clenched, sobs muffled in your own arms because the world around you had moved on, but heaven did not. The angels paused. The sky leaned closer. Something divine registered the frequency of your pain and marked it as holy. There are wounds that scream louder in spirit than any sound in the flesh. And chosen one, yours was heard. The moment you wept without knowing who to tell. God noticed, and he sent them. You think your grief went unanswered, but it triggered a chain reaction in the unseen. That pain wasn't weakness. It was a prayer, a cry that crossed dimensions and ignited movement in realms you've forgotten how to see. There are beings who are assigned to respond only when love shatters this deeply, not when you post about it, not when you perform strength, but when your soul can't hide anymore. That's when heaven intervenes. And that's exactly what happened the night you felt like you couldn't go on that moment. That was the alarm bell in the spirit, and your friend heard it too. You see, on the other side, love doesn't evaporate. It evolves. It becomes sharper, clearer, divine. They felt your pain, not because they're bound to earth, but because they still carry a tether to your heart. And when your anguish peaked, that thread lit up. That's when they moved. That's when they started trying harder to break through dreams, through signs, through whispers in the stillness. They saw you collapsing, and they wanted you to know you are not alone in this pain. Not then, not now. Heaven responds to pain like yours, not with punishment, but with positioning. You were marked in that moment, not as broken, but as open. Do you understand what that means? Your suffering carved space for something sacred to land. That kind of pain makes room for prophecy. The wound became a portal, and through it, their message was allowed to begin. Because there are things you would have never heard while life was smooth, things you never would have seen with dry eyes. Sometimes it takes shattering for the message to be delivered in full clarity. And heaven, in its mercy, allowed that crack to become a channel. Chosen one, your pain did not go unnoticed. It was recorded. It was answered, and it was sacred. You didn't fall apart because you were weak. You fell apart because something divine was trying to reach you through the spaces your pride wouldn't allow. And your friend, the one you missed so much, they weren't watching from afar.
They were beside you, kneeling beside your spirit when no one else knew how to hold it. That pain, it wasn't the end, it was the signal. The gate just opened.
You thought it was coincidence. The way you met, the way you clicked, the inside jokes, the effortless laughter, the way your souls seemed to speak a language that had no words, but none of it was random. Not the timing, not the depth, not the bond that still lingers long after death. Chosen one, your friendship was sacred, hand-woven before time into the fabric of your purpose. You were chosen for each other, not just to pass the time, but to prepare one another for something eternal. There are connections that predate this life. Yours was one of them. Do you remember how safe it felt? Like they saw through everything the world tried to label you with, and still stayed. That's not normal. That's divine selection. You were not just best friends. You were mirrors, portals, anchors for each other's destinies. Heaven allowed that relationship not just to bring comfort, but to awaken something dormant in both of you. And now that they've crossed over, their role has shifted, but their mission hasn't ended, because you're not done yet. And they're not either. When souls like yours find each other, it's never by accident. You weren't just aligned. You were assigned. Assigned to unlock something in each other that no one else could reach. Assigned to witness the parts of one another too sacred to explain to outsiders. Assigned to protect each other's softness in a world that doesn't always know how to be gentle. Your connection was an activation, and that's why their loss hit harder than anything else, because it wasn't just loss, it was disruption. It tore open a timeline you didn't know you were walking. But hear this, death does not unchoose what God has joined. The bond still holds. Their mission with you continues, just in a new form. And now they're more equipped than ever to help you fulfill the reason you're still here. You see, Chosen One, they were only able to go ahead because they saw what you couldn't, that you were strong enough to carry the rest. That's why they've been trying to speak, not to make you grieve again, but to remind you of the reason you met in the first place. Remember the moment you first realized you could tell them anything, that no thought was too weird, no fear too heavy, no dream too wild. That kind of safety only comes from soul contracts. And you signed one with them, long before Earth, long before memory, and now they're holding up their side of the promise from the other side, trying to help you remember yours. This friendship wasn't built on accident, it was built on assignment. And that assignment is awakening now. You're going to start feeling it, in the way your voice changes, in the way your intuition sharpens, in the way your tears suddenly feel like fuel instead of loss, because their love didn't end, it transformed. And now it's pushing you forward. They didn't just leave, they prepared. You might not have noticed it at the time. Too much laughter, too much life, too much denial that anything could ever change. But there were moments when they looked at you longer than usual, when their words felt heavier, quieter, like they were sealing something into your memory, because somewhere inside them, whether they admitted it or not, they knew. They knew their time would come before yours, and they knew you'd need something to hold on to when the silence set in. That's why they left you signs, instructions, breadcrumbs, written not in ink, but in moments. Remember what they said that one night, about if anything ever happened, or you'll know what to do. You brushed it off, maybe even laughed. But Chosen One, that wasn't small talk. That was divine foresight, breaking through casual conversation. Their soul was reaching forward, handing you keys you wouldn't know how to use until now. That memory keeps replaying for a reason. It wasn't random, it was planted. And now, it's blooming. There were things they told you in code, through stories, jokes, even the way they used to say goodbye.
Not every instruction sounds like a command. Sometimes it sounds like, promise me you'll keep going, or don't let them change who you are, or simply, you were made for something bigger. That wasn't flattery. That was prophecy. They weren't trying to comfort you. They were trying to commission you, because here's the truth. Your best friend saw something in you that you still struggle to believe. They saw your light before the world tried to dim it. They knew how your heart works, how you carry too much, how you feel too deep, how you never quit even when everything inside you is breaking. And they knew that would make you the perfect vessel for what's next. So before they left, they anchored their trust into your future. That trust is the instruction. You don't need a letter. You were the letter. Chosen one, there are things you're about to remember, things that felt ordinary when they happened, but now shine with divine fingerprints. A conversation by the lake, a song they insisted you listen to, a photo you can't delete, but don't know why. These are more than memories. They're markers, triggers to remind you who you are, where to look, and what they need you to do now. You are not directionless in your grief. You are encoded. What they left behind wasn't just love. It was a map. And now that your soul is waking up, the instructions will start making sense. You'll feel it when you walk certain paths, when you speak certain words, when your hands tremble and your chest fills. For no reason at all, that's them. Still speaking, still guiding, still trusting you to complete what they couldn't.
It always seemed like coincidence. The white feather on your windowsill, the clock pausing on the same number again, the song playing the moment you thought of them, whispering through the speakers like a secret but chosen one. There are no accidents when the soul is trying to speak. That feather was a signal, that number, a frequency, that moment, a message. They've been trying to tell you something, not with volume, but with precision. Because the language of the afterlife isn't loud. It's divine, subtle, repetitive, until your spirit is trained enough to hear it. The world taught you to ignore signs, to explain everything away with logic and chance, but your heart knows better. You feel the difference between ordinary and orchestrated, between luck and legacy, between randomness and recognition. They are communicating through your environment, using symbols that bypass the noise and land directly on the part of you that remembers. That feather didn't drift there, it was placed. That number sequence wasn't just math, it was a code recurring like a knock from the other side. And you've been feeling it. You just weren't sure you were allowed to believe it. You are. Heaven speaks in signs because signs reach when words can't. And your friend, they've been trying every channel available. They know how to catch your eye. They know how your brain works, how your emotions fire, how your memories loop. That's why they use that scent, that flash, that specific cloud shape that looked like something only the two of you would understand. It's all been part of a coordinated effort to make sure you know this isn't imagination, this is signal. Chosen one. The veil between here and there is thinner than you think, especially when love refuses to let go. They've been slipping through the cracks, not to scare you, but to remind you of who you are, of what still needs to be done. They left you messages layered into your world like encrypted dreams. But you're not crazy, you're sensitive. And now that you've begun to accept that this connection isn't broken, the signs will come faster, stronger, clearer. Pay attention to the times you feel sudden chills, to the objects you find in strange places, to the numbers that repeat themselves so insistently you can't ignore them anymore. That's not paranoia, that's precision. They're guiding you towards something, a decision, a revelation, an alignment that matters more than you know. Don't shrug it off this time. Don't say that's weird and walk away. Pause, acknowledge, respond.
because they're listening too. Every time you whisper their name after seeing a sign, they hear you. Every time you say, "Was that you?" they smile. And when you say thank you, the light on their side pulses brighter. You are in communication now, and the signals will only intensify. You just need to keep your heart tuned, your eyes open, and your spirit willing to believe they're not gone. They're signaling.
You didn't lose them. Their role just changed. The second they crossed over, something ancient activated. A transfer of energy, a shifting of purpose. Earthly titles like best friend couldn't hold what they were about to become. Because in the spiritual realm, grief doesn't sever connection, it evolves it. And chosen one, what they were to you in life was only the beginning. In death, they became something even more vital, a guardian assigned not to watch passively, but to intervene, to guide, to protect, to whisper divine reroutes when you wandered too far from the path. You may have noticed it already. That voice inside that suddenly feels stronger, that hesitation right before a wrong turn, that moment where you felt pulled back from danger by something invisible. That wasn't luck, that wasn't instinct, that was them, moving in spirit, positioned like a sentinel beside your destiny. They are not wandering through the afterlife lost. They were placed in direct orbit around your soul, with heaven's permission to act on your behalf, not just in dreams, but in real time. When you almost gave up, they stood between you and the edge. When you doubted your worth, they whispered the truth back into your bloodstream when you forgot who you were. They sent a dream, a face, a sentence that cracked the illusion wide open. You were never abandoned. You were reassigned, and so were they. What was once a friendship of comfort became a spiritual alliance of purpose. And in this realm, alliances like that rewrite timelines. You are not alone in your healing. You're being guided through it. That sudden clarity you had last week, the impulse to take that different route, to text that specific person, to pause before saying yes to the wrong thing, that was them, pushing, prompting, protecting. They don't interfere with every step, only the ones that matter, only the ones that ripple forward into your purpose. They are the presence just out of sight, the weight in the room when you start to pray but don't know the words, the goosebumps when you say their name and feel something shift. Chosen one, they are closer now than they ever were in life, because now they don't need sleep. They don't get distracted. They don't forget their love has been refined in the fire of the divine, purified, eternal, sharp, and they are using it all on you. You, who they always believed in you, who they would have given everything for. Now they have. Their time here was the down payment. Their spirit, that's the investment, and it's working. Start speaking to them with intention, not as someone lost, but as someone activated. Say their name not in mourning, but in mission. They are not floating aimlessly. They've been stationed beside your calling. The guardian has taken their place, and the path before you has already been cleared. Their name keeps showing up, doesn't it? On a street sign, in a stranger's mouth, in the credits of a movie you didn't plan to watch. At first you thought it was memory playing tricks, your grief echoing through coincidence, but then it kept happening and happening. The spelling, the sound, the full name, or just a fragment. It's like the world refuses to let you forget. But chosen one, that's not the world. That's design. That's divine repetition. That's heaven tapping you on the shoulder with one word. Listen. You see, in the realm of spirit, names carry frequency. And their name, the one your heart still aches to say aloud, is coded, not just with their essence, but with the message they've been trying to send. When a name keeps surfacing in your life unprovoked, it means the veil is thinning, a message is near, and that soul
is requesting presence. They are not trying to haunt your thoughts. They are trying to deliver something urgent. And the first step to receiving it is acknowledging that you're being contacted directly. Every time you say their name softly before bed, every time it slips into your prayers or spills out during silence, they hear it. And when the world echoes it back to you unprompted, it's not a glitch, it's confirmation. That name is the spiritual equivalent of a knock. It means, I'm still here. It means, you're getting closer. It means, don't look away now. Because chosen one, their voice is getting louder, and they're using their name as the entry point. It's the sound they know will jolt you awake, the one you feel in your chest before your ears even register it. You may notice the emotion hits different when you hear it. Not sadness, something deeper, like reverence, like your soul straightening its posture. That's because hearing their name activates memory and spirit at the same time. It realigns your awareness. It reminds you that love didn't leave. It transformed into something multi-dimensional, something active, something intentional. And now, the moment you hear their name, you're being asked not just to remember them, but to respond. Pay attention to what's happening around you when it comes. What were you thinking about? What choice were you about to make? What prayer was hovering on the edge of your lips? Their name arrives strategically. It's not about nostalgia, it's about navigation. You're being guided toward a moment, one you'll only step into fully if you stop dismissing the signs and start walking in them. Say their name without flinching. Say it with awareness. Say it with expectation. Because every time you speak it, every time you hear it, every time you feel it, you are activating the line between worlds. The name is not just a memory. It's a signal. It's a key. It's part of the message they were sent to deliver. And you're finally ready to receive it. Before they crossed over, they did something most people never think to do. They spoke to the angel that walks with you. Not in a language of words, but of knowing soul to soul, spirit to spirit. On the edge of breath and eternity, they made sure someone would keep carrying what they couldn't finish in this lifetime, and chosen one, that someone has been walking beside you ever since. Quiet, constant, unseen. Your guardian was always there. But now, they carry a message that wasn't written in scripture, but in love. And it came from your best friend. There are things you haven't remembered yet, because they were planted in you at the moment of their departure, implanted like sealed letters, waiting for activation. The angel they spoke to knew this would be a slow awakening, not a lightning bolt, a candle flame, and every sign you've been receiving since. The dreams, the feathers, the timing, the whispers, they've all been nudging that flame toward ignition. You were never supposed to carry this weight alone. Their love didn't vanish. It was entrusted to the only presence holy enough to deliver it safely, the angel assigned to your destiny, and now the delivery is underway. They told your angel about your softness, your doubt, your brilliance, the things you try to hide from the world and even from yourself. They made sure the angel understood what you would need when the grief got too heavy. They asked for patience, they asked for gentleness, and most of all, they asked for the message to come through clearly when the time was right. And now, it is. That's why you've been feeling different. That pressure in your chest, that clarity during stillness, that moment where you almost felt accompanied. You were. You always have been. Chosen one, you need to understand this. Your angel is not just watching. They are instructed, carrying out a commission from the very one whose absence cracked you open, and every divine nudge you've received has been part of that sacred plan. When you were about to break, it was their intervention. When you said, I just want a sign, and something flickered, That was their response. Coordinated, timed, holy. Because love, like theirs, doesn't leave. It simply steps into another dimension and keeps working. So when you speak aloud and ask for clarity, don't just send the words into the air. Aim them. Your angel is listening, and the one you lost is still guiding the process. The hand you once held is now the hand that reached out on your behalf, across veils, across realms, across everything we call impossible. They spoke to your angel before they left, and now the message is almost here. Don't rush. Don't panic. Just stay open. Because what's coming next isn't just a sign, it's a fulfillment. You're closer than you think.
It didn't come right away, and that's not because they didn't try. They've been speaking since the moment their breath left this world, louder in spirit than they ever could have been in body. But you weren't ready to receive it yet. Not because you were weak, not because you weren't worthy, but because your heart was still bleeding, and a soul can't hold a message. It's too shattered to carry, chosen one. The delay wasn't punishment. It was protection. The message they've been begging to share. It's holy, and holy things are never rushed. You see, some truths aren't delivered until the soil is broken, until the ego is quiet, until grief does what only grief can do, empty us of noise and fill us with presence. That's what's been happening to you all along. The tears, the silence, the aching confusion. It wasn't in vain. It was preparation. Because divine messages don't land on surfaces. They bury themselves deep into soul root and only bloom when you've stopped trying to control what they mean. They needed you soft again, open again, not distracted by pretending you're fine, but honest enough to admit you still feel them. And you do. Even now, you feel the energy shifting again, don't you? You're sensing a nearness, a presence just behind the veil of thought. That's because the message is coming, the real one, the one that will not only explain why they had to go when they did, but why your life didn't stop with their absence. It was recalibrated. Your timeline has always included this loss, not as a mistake, as a turning point. And they've been waiting, not for a calendar date, but for the softening of your heart. For the moment when grief stopped being noise and started becoming signal. When you stopped saying, "Why me?" and started asking, "What now?" That shift wasn't small, it was seismic, and heaven felt it. So did they. That was the signal. You're ready. And readiness doesn't mean you don't still cry. It means your spirit has cracked open wide enough to carry revelation without collapsing. It means you can hold sorrow and wisdom in the same hand. It means you can hear what they have to say now without being destroyed by it, but reborn through it. So prepare, not by doing more, but by stilling deeper. You're not waiting anymore. You're listening. That ringing in your ear, that shift in your dreams, that strange stillness right before sleep, it's all leading to the moment when the message finally breaks through in full. And when it does, it won't sound like thunder. It will sound like them, but stronger, clearer, eternal. They waited for your heart to be ready, and now it is. The message is near, and everything you thought you lost is about to turn into something you never knew you were chosen to carry. You've done your mourning, more than the world ever saw. Quiet tears, loud ones, the kind that don't even look like crying, just staring, breathing, surviving. And they felt every one. But chosen one, your best friend is no longer asking you to grieve. They're asking you to listen, because what they need to tell you isn't about the past. It's about the mission you're still here to complete. Grief was the gateway, but this part is about purpose. This part is about the reason they've been trying so desperately to reach you. There's a sacred shift that happens when grief becomes reverence, when the ache remains, but it opens instead of closes. You're in that shift now. You've cried all the tears. You've lived through the birthdays and the anniversaries and the silent moments when you expected them to walk in like nothing had changed, but something has changed. Not just around you, in you. You've been rebuilt by sorrow, reshaped by pain. But in that reshaping, a new space has been carved, a space that can now hold the message. They aren't trying to pull you backward. They're trying to pull you forward. They don't want you stuck in the moment they left. They want you activated in the message they carried. They see your pain, yes, but they also see your light, the one you've been too afraid to let shine fully since they died. That dimming was your way of honoring them. But they're asking you to honor them differently now, by listening. Listen to the nudge that won't leave you alone. The thought that keeps circling your head like a bird, too persistent to ignore. That's them, not imagination, not coincidence. Guidance. They've been trying to reroute your life towards something specific. A path, a choice, a purpose that's connected to the very reason they were part of your story. And now that you're softened enough, now that you're not drowning anymore, they're speaking clearer. It's going to start sounding like intuition, a knowing, a pull. You'll feel it in your chest before your mind can explain it. That's the frequency of their message. You always knew their voice best, not just the sound of it, but the truth in it. And that hasn't changed. You'll recognize the energy when it lands. It will feel like warmth, like memory, like a door you didn't know was still unlocked. Chosen one, you don't need more grief rituals. You need more quiet. You don't need to hold the pain tighter. You need to let the message through. They are not asking you to keep mourning. They're asking you to move, to hear, to respond. Because what's coming next is the part they couldn't say in time. And now that your spirit is finally tuned, the next sentence will arrive not in sadness, in clarity. You've cried, you've honored, you've survived, now it's time to listen. This connection didn't start here, not with the first laugh, not with the shared secrets, not even with the day you called them your best friend. No, this soul bond began before either of you had bodies, before Earth had calendars, before breath was assigned. Chosen one, you made a promise, not in ink, not in blood, in light, in presence, in the space beyond time, where souls agree on assignments before stepping into flesh. You and your best friend didn't find each other by accident. You remembered each other, and that remembering was the spark of your contract. You chose to meet here, in this lifetime, in this timeline. You agreed, even then, that your connection would serve something sacred, not just comfort, catalyst. They would come into your life to awaken you, and you would hold something for them too, something they couldn't carry all the way through. That's why their death felt like more than loss. It felt like being handed a torch you didn't ask for, a mission you weren't sure you could fulfill. But deep down you knew, you always knew there was something bigger under all that love, something waiting. And now, the memory of that promise is rising to the surface. Have you ever wondered why you trusted them more than anyone else? Why your bond defied logic, time, and explanation? It's because your spirits rehearsed this long before you were born. You carved safe spaces inside each other, sanctuaries built not from words, but from sacred agreement. They were never just a friend. They were a fellow traveler, a partner in divine assignment. And when their time here ended, they didn't exit the mission. They passed the next phase to you. It's why their memory won't release you, why their voice echoes in decisions, why your growth feels strangely like a continuation of their life, because in a way, it is. You're not replacing them, you're expanding them. You're fulfilling what they knew you were built for, even before you knew it yourself. And chosen one, this is not too big for you. It was chosen with you. There is something you must unlock in this life that only they could point you toward.
a part of your calling that requires this very pain, this very strength, this very awakening. They knew that, which is why your final promise, the one made in spirit, sealed before either of you knew how hard earth would be, was this: if I go before you, I'll help you remember who you are. I'll leave signs. I'll break through the veil. I'll make sure you don't forget what we came here to do. And now the remembering has begun. This isn't about loss anymore. It's about lineage. You and your best friend were never separate stories. You are chapters of the same message. And now it's your turn to write what comes next, with their hand still guiding yours from the other side.
You remember it, don't you? That dream you had when you were still too young to understand it. The colors didn't match Earth. The sky bent in ways it shouldn't. You heard voices, but not through ears, through feeling. And they were there. Maybe not exactly how they looked in life, but you knew. Your spirit knew. That dream never left you, because it wasn't just a dream. It was memory. It was prophecy. It was a message sent ahead of time, knowing one day you'd need to remember it, to know you weren't crazy and you were never alone. Chosen one, that dream was real, not metaphor, not subconscious play. It was a fragment of your soul's knowing, slipped into your childhood before doubt had a chance to build its walls. Your best friend was there, not because your mind made them up, but because your spirits met there. Even before you met in the physical world, your connection was already active in the spiritual realm. That dream was the handshake, the spark, the quiet agreement between dimensions. We will find each other again. And you did. You didn't understand it back then. How could you? You just knew it felt different, felt deeper. You woke up from it feeling both peace and longing. You carried it for years without context. But now the context is catching up. Now you realize that the elements of that dream, the strange symbols, the familiar presence, the sensation of floating but not flying, they weren't fiction. They were your soul walking through a memory that hadn't happened yet in this lifetime. That's how time works when spirit is involved. It bends, it loops, it leaves you breadcrumbs in sleep that only make sense once your eyes are open in waking life. Your best friend has been trying to reactivate that memory ever since they passed. That's why lately, old dreams feel new again. That's why certain images from childhood, that staircase, that forest, that light, suddenly feel holy. They're not random. They're access points, keys, clues from your younger self to the version of you who would be ready. And you're ready now. Go back to that dream. Let it replay. Let it speak. There's something hidden in it, something you weren't able to see before. A phrase, a symbol, a gesture they made just before you woke up. That wasn't just dream logic, that was instruction. And now it's time to decode it. You're not making this up. You never were. That dream was a visit. That space was real. And they've been trying to pull you back into it, not to escape this world, but to remember your assignment in it. The dream you had as a kid was real, and it's about to become a doorway. You thought your pain was breaking you, but in the spirit realm, it was opening something. Chosen one, there are certain kinds of suffering that don't just hurt. They hollow not to destroy, but to make space. And when you lost them, that space inside you ruptured wide enough for heaven to enter. What felt like collapse was actually a key turning. Your grief wasn't weakness. It was alchemy. And the moment your heart cracked open in that deep, unexplainable way, a portal was born. Not the kind made of glass and light, but one made of energy, of memory, of unspoken love stretched across dimensions. The kind of portal that lets messages through when logic fails. And you felt it, that strange thinning of the air when you think of them too hard. That sudden sense that the room isn't empty, even though you're alone. That pull in your chest when their name shows up on a random screen or drips out of someone else's mouth. Those aren't coincidences.
They're bleed-throughs, evidence that the veil between here and there was weakened by your pain. Only certain souls can activate that kind of opening, souls who love deeply, lose deeply, feel deeply, and you, chosen one, are one of them. That's why the loss nearly consumed you, because the bond was more than emotional. It was spiritual infrastructure. When they left, the architecture of your soul had to be rewired, and that rewiring sent a ripple through your timeline, through your DNA, through every version of you, past and future. It changed everything. But here's the part no one tells you. Once the portal is opened by pain, it begins to echo. It starts allowing through fragments of what's on the other side. And that's why you've been sensing more lately, more dreams, more chills, more moments where time slows down and everything feels thin. It's not your imagination, it's the portal working. And it was made by love wrapped in sorrow, a code only the bravest hearts carry. Your friend knew this. That's why they've been waiting on the other side, placing messages where only your specific wound could hear them, not because they wanted you to suffer, but because they knew your grief would be sacred enough to unlock what casual faith never could. You've become a bridge now, between two realms, between loss and meaning, between the one you were before the pain and the one you're becoming through it. Chosen one, that portal is still open. And it doesn't need rituals or magic to work. It only needs your presence, your stillness, your willingness to believe that some of the most devastating moments in your life weren't endings. They were entries. You're not broken. You're tuned. And now, with the veil thinner than ever, the final message is preparing to come through. Don't resist it. Don't fear it. You were chosen for this. And your pain was the password. You keep thinking you could have done more, said more, seen the signs earlier. You've replayed the timeline over and over, haven't you? Rewound conversations, picked apart silences, wondered if your absence, your distraction, your own pain made you miss a chance to save them. But chosen one, they don't carry that weight. You do. And they've been trying to tell you something louder than any apology. You were never supposed to blame yourself. They don't want your guilt, they want your freedom. Every time you flinch at the memory, every time you wonder if one more text, one more hug, one more day would have changed the outcome. They see you, and they grieve not because of what happened to them, but because of what you're still carrying for no reason. Your pain is valid, but your self-punishment is not sacred. It's unnecessary. It's noise, and it's blocking the clarity of what they've been trying to say. They never blamed you. Not for the timing, not for the distance, not for the words you didn't know how to say. Love that deep doesn't hold grudges, it holds space. And they have been holding space for you in the afterlife, waiting for the moment your heart would finally forgive itself. Because without that forgiveness, their message can't fully land. Guilt distorts signal, but surrender opens it. Think about it. Would you want someone you love to carry shame for your journey? Would you want them to tie their own healing to your absence? Of course not, and neither do they. You don't honor them by shrinking. You honor them by freeing yourself, because only then can the divine assignment move through you without contamination. This part matters more than you realize. You can't complete the next step of your calling weighed down by false responsibility. Your soul knows this. That's why every time you get close to a breakthrough, that old guilt rises up. It's trying to leave. Let it. Speak out loud, even now. The things you've been too ashamed to say, I forgive myself. I was doing the best I could. I didn't fail you. Because they already know that. You were their safe place in life, and they're trying to be yours now, from beyond. But they can't pour into a vessel already overflowing with self-condemnation. You've cried the tears, you've questioned everything, and now it's time to release. Not because you're forgetting them, but because you're finally remembering what your love was built on. Grace. Chosen one. Your best friend doesn't want your pain. They want your peace. They don't want your apologies. They want your permission to enter fully, to guide you freely, to fulfill the promise you both made before this life even began. So take a breath. Place your hand over your chest and let it go. They need you to forgive yourself, because what comes next is too sacred to be filtered through shame.
You've said it more times than you can count. I just wish they were still here. You've looked at their photos, whispered to their absence, stared into the sky, wondering where they went. But chosen one, they never left, not in the way you think. Their body may have returned to dust, but their presence, the essence of who they are, recalibrated. They are no longer bound by gravity or form, and that means they can now walk beside you more fully than ever before. They're not gone. They've shifted, and they've been closer than your breath, waiting for you to recognize how they still travel with you. In this exact way. It's not metaphor. It's not memory. It's movement. The chill you feel when you speak their name, the feeling that someone's in the room when you cry, the way your thoughts suddenly arrange themselves into clarity after you ask a question aloud. That's them, not watching from a distance, participating. They are now part of the field around you, part of the wind that slows when you speak, the light that bends when you remember, the rhythm that returns when you finally breathe deep again. They walk beside you when you take the longer way home, because they know you're processing. They nudge the song you need to hear into your playlist. They light up the face of a stranger with a look that feels like them. These are not tricks. They are threads. They are bridges between their dimension and yours. And because you've chosen to believe, to listen, they now have permission to show up more clearly. Your body may walk alone, but your spirit never does. Think about the timing of the moments when you almost gave up, how something small, strange, or sudden caught your attention and pulled you back from the edge. That was no coincidence. That was a friend on divine assignment, your friend, the one who knew how your heart beats and how your mind spirals. They haven't stopped being that for you. In fact, they're better at it now. They don't need phones or sleep or permission. They are woven into your orbit by choice, by love, by legacy. Chosen one, stop searching the sky for them when they're already at your side. The signal isn't above you, it's through you. You'll feel the most when you're still, when you're real, when you're willing to let go of what proof is supposed to look like. They don't appear in thunder. They arrive in presence. They rise in your memory like a sunrise. They speak not just to your ears, but to your knowing. They're still walking beside you. And now, finally, you know how to recognize it. No more doubting what you feel. No more dismissing what you sense. Every step you take now is taken together. You've never been without them, and you never will be. You felt it building. The signs, the dreams, the weightless moments that don't quite fit reality. It wasn't random, it was a countdown. And now you're standing at the threshold, chosen one, the moment everything changes. The message they've been trying to get to you, the one that kept slipping through cracks and symbols, is no longer distant. It's here, not shouted, not forced, but clear, carved into your spirit with gentleness so precise it could only come from them. And here's what it says. This isn't goodbye. It never was. It's your turn now. Their final message wasn't meant to close a chapter. It was meant to open one. Because what they couldn't finish in this life, the healing, the purpose, the calling, they passed to you not to burden you, but to trust you. They saw something in you that even now you hesitate to believe.
that you could carry light into places they never reached, that you could walk the road ahead without losing the softness they always loved in you, that you could become the living proof that love outlives death, that purpose survives grief, and that something divine never ends. It just transforms. So here it is. Their message is not a sentence. It's a spark, and it lives in every word you now feel rising in your throat when you speak truth. It lives in the choices you're about to make, the bolder ones, the aligned ones, the ones that scare you because they matter. It lives in your art, your presence, your resilience, your willingness to step into visibility when everything in your past taught you to hide. This is their message, yes, but it's also your beginning. You are no longer just the one who lost. You are now the one who remembers. You carry not only their memory, you carry their mission. Their presence didn't leave the earth, it multiplied through you. And every time you live fully, speak bravely, and love fearlessly, they live again. That's the real secret. That's what they've been waiting for you to understand. The world will never know the depth of what you two shared, but that's okay, because you know, heaven knows. And now you've been initiated into a kind of knowing that changes how you walk forever. Not heavy, not broken, but burning, with purpose, with clarity, with the kind of quiet, anchored love that doesn't demand to be seen. It just radiates. Chosen one, this is where your story begins. Not in grief, not in silence, but in sacred continuation. Let their final message breathe through you. Let it speak in your tone, echo in your choices, move in your legacy. Because the most urgent thing they ever had to tell you is this: you were never just meant to miss me. You were meant to finish something I started, and I trust you to carry it.
If you have come this far, it is crucial that you watch this next video here. But be warned, it is not for the faint of heart, for only the true chosen ones can handle this video. If you would like to also donate to help keep the channel going, our Buy Me a Coffee link will be in the description.